First and foremost, I want to thank you so much. Today is going to be a year in review. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lena Saleh, the Edtech Guru, where we are disrupting Edtech and education. All right, let's do this. Can you believe it's already 2021? It seems like 2020 flew by in a flash. But seriously, 2020 was a blur. Looking back at the changes and all of the things that happened in 2020 to education. The most popular year of the word unprecedented. Now, as much as we were ready to see 2020 go, 2020 brought some really great changes to the educational landscape, both to education K-12, higher ed, and even to edtech companies. There were many shifts that had to happen to support the new world of our COVID endemic pandemic era. This year, I put out 27 videos, my very first video coming out about how I became the Edtech Guru in May. Throughout that year, I spent time focusing on different things of how the pandemic will affect our world to come, how educational leaders and teachers could really get ready for what's facing us ahead of a post-pandemic era, some trends that will be changing education this year, as well as how the pandemic will affect teachers in the long run, how we can bring in parents to become our biggest supporters and really open up that communication pathway. Prior to 2020, the door had really been closed between communication between parents and teachers in the school systems. And this year we saw Zoom calls happening with the superintendents opening up their business meetings and just really pulling parents into day-to-day workings of the classroom. And that's really important because for a long time, parents weren't really understanding what was happening in the classroom. And that really called for change and for just more transparency between the top all the way to the bottom and everyone in between. It was a very important aspect. I also put out a guide for teachers' tips for leaving the classroom. I have a lot of people reaching out to me wondering what they can do to switch either career pathways or really moving from the classroom into the beyond. So was a big one that I put out. There are many resources there as well. I also have some really great articles that follow my own personal journey and what it was like when I actually left the classrooms themselves. So I'll link that below. I really recommend you checking that out as well. I also put out a video about what teachers can expect for years to come. I think teachers are going to have to position themselves more so thinking of themselves as a business rather than just one barrier of entry. So I think parents and teachers and everyone involved are really going to have to start thinking on a much different level because everyone has gotten a taste of how education can be different. The expectations are very high for that transfer. Although grace is going to be included and everyone has patience and understanding, there are really going to be some really high expectations to prepare kids for this world of technology that has only evolved tenfold during the pandemic. I also put out a guide on how to integrate computational thinking into your classroom. I recently also shared an article throughout my social medias and LinkedIn, in which I'll link below, about how teaching computer science is really essential for kids and for the world that we live in, as we can see just the evolution that has taken place. Computational thinking is more so a problem-solving skill set, and this has been further proven by Marina Bears and her team at MIT, just talking about how computational thinking more closely, or computer science more closely relates to problem-solving skill sets and more advanced tasks like solving word puzzles and things like that than it does a language, and how that can really tie into all aspects of what you're doing in the classroom. I also talked about how Google for Education should really step up. We did see Google and we also saw Microsoft really became a shining star during this pandemic, in addition to things like learning management systems and other things that really jumped up into the forefront. And I would say that Google and Microsoft really stepped up to the plate in providing tools that parents and teachers and students need to thrive in online learning. I also provided some back to school PBL projects. I am going to focus on a trends video here in the next couple of weeks, just things that we'll start to see transpire as a result of the pandemic and trickle itself into the classroom and K-12. I also put out a video about how we need to support our teachers to support our teachers and provide them the correct training that they need. I think that this has been really important during the pandemic. We saw that prior to that, teachers were already seeking out their own professional development. And now it's important for principals and administrators to really support that need, and also for edtech companies to make sure that they are providing professional development for the products that they offer. These are really essential. Teachers are seeking out this. They want to know how to do it. And a lot of them aren't super tech savvy, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but we need to provide them the supports in order to thrive.
I focus on a couple of other schools, both Los Angeles Unified School District and Wisman. Both of them are kind of changing the face of education. LA Unified School District entirely is offering different ways of professional development, kind of like a library of professional development resources for teachers to really feel supported. And at Wisman, they have decided to pull in a team to really put together content for teachers so teachers can become a true facilitator and not necessarily just a lecturer. I also put out some resources, some really great podcasts and things to follow, and then what to do when you don't feel supported. So I have a really great resource for you here that I focused on. A lot of teachers didn't feel supported during this time, and what can you do? A lot of times you don't really have either a mentor or somebody to rely upon to really give you that firm support that you need in order to kind of change the conversation. We also found that students are going to have additional supports built in to make up for the gains that they've lost during
online learning without having devices, and just the chaos that came from that, from switching from in the classroom in March and kids some of them never even being back at school until this point in time. We know that the gains are real, but how can we make that up? So I shared some different resources, some different ways like project-based learning, and just using those edtech tools. Data to drive instruction is pretty important. And then just some things that we know are going to be affected during this time, and that's going to be student decline in data. Teacher shortage is going to be at an all-time high, and then some different things like how industry is stepping up to the plate to really fulfill those shoes. So I hope that you really enjoyed the content that I put out this year. I would love to hear from you what you would like to see in the upcoming years to come. Again, I put out 27 videos, and this year my promise is to double that. And also I will be releasing a podcast version of all of my videos from last year, so you can give that a quick listen if you don't have time to watch the visual part of it. And I have some other things in the work that I'm excited to share with you this upcoming year, and hope to produce some written content as well for you. Put out an ebook for teachers on how to leave the classroom, and some just different tools and resources for mentorship and different things like that, so that you really feel supported. Goal is to shift education, disrupt both edtech and education to come together to really support our students for the future. I hope once again that you'll like, share, subscribe, comment below, and please make sure to share this content with others that you find interesting. I am so thankful for all the support that you've given me this year, and I'm really excited for 2021. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And until next time, bye.